Ricky Starks opened up about his new name and his ideas on what led to his AEW departure. Talking to Busted Open Radio shortly after NXT went off the air, Ricky Starks talked about his new name that was revealed on Tuesday's show, Ricky Saints. He explained that while he knows it will take time to get used to, he likes paying tribute to his home city. He then talked about his departure from AEW. Ricky first addressed speculation by denying that it was due to appearances at the Royal Rumble or WrestleMania while under AEW contract, saying that his boss, Tony Khan, at the time was okay with it. He said, quote, I don't know the specifics of what it was. Some people, you ask the internet, it was because you were at the Rumble. Screw you. The footage got leaked from me being at the Rumble. I wasn't backstage. I left after the first match. Some could say, well, you were at Mania in a suite and you got on camera cheering. Screw you. You're an idiot with no friends and no passion in life if you think the damnedest thing I've done is cheering somebody on in another company. My boss was okay with it. He then went on to say, I can't tell you exactly what the moment was. You could say it was CM Punk leaving and things kind of fell apart. Absolutely. I probably agree with you on that. All right. Or you could say is that Ricky Starks didn't play the politics well enough. All right, for sure. There are so many things you can say. He then went on to add, what I can say for myself is that when I got hurt in March, that was it. I never came back. And even then, I wasn't hurt. It was a precaution thing where I got scared as I had a stinger. Then I was fine. After that, no dice, no communication, no nothing. And that is okay because I ended up here and it's fine. Everything worked out. I don't know explicitly where it went wrong. I can't point to one thing. I can say it was a storm of things, probably. Did I do something that may have tipped them off? Sure. Sure. Asking for my release whenever, this past whatever, that could have been about it, right? But never once was I not willing to do something. Never once was I sabotaging anything. He was asked if he felt like there was a personal or professional reason for his release. Ricky said it was probably personal because if it was professional, his departure wouldn't have happened this way. To which he said, I will say this there are some people who stuck their nose in my creative business that shouldn't have happened. Veterans, and that's it. I'll leave it at that. And if they got problems with me, they got my number and text me about it. I think what it was is if I didn't work for their creative, then someone had to get the boot. That's how I see it, but I'm not trying to be negative in my thought process about it. If you want to step on me to get ahead in your illustrious career, everyone has an illustrious career. Everyone should have an illustrious career. That is perfectly fine. But at the same time, I'm not wet behind my ears. Ricky Saints will have his first NXT match next week when the brand heads to Cincinnati. He will team with Javon Evans to take on Ethan Page and Wesley. Moving on to our next story, Seth Rollins is interested in a potential backstage role with WWE after his in ring career finishes. The 38-year-old said his retirement is still a ways off, but he's had discussions with WWE about what his future with the company could look like once his time as an active competitor comes to an end. Seth recently discussed what could come next for his career with Bloomberg, saying, it's still a ways off, obviously. I mean, I'm closer to the end of my career than the beginning, but the end ain't here yet. I'm kind of in my prime right now. He explained that he's seeing the industry from a new perspective, which has led to early talks about a potential creative role in WWE. To which Seth said, my mental and physical are kind of locked in right now, where my physical hasn't declined too much and my mental side is really on the rise as I'm starting to see the industry from a different angle. That part I'm really focused on. I think we're in the early stages of conversations about what it might look like for me in the future in an executive or in a creative role, or whatever that may be. But again, that's in its infancy. That's like a hey, maybe what would you think down the road? Right now, I'm focused on what I'm doing in the ring and helping out there as best as I can. This past Monday, Seth Rollins officially qualified for the Elimination Chamber. Moving on to our next story, AJ Styles thinks fans should give new WWE SmackDown co lead writer Road Dogg a fair shot before criticizing him. It was revealed over the past weekend that Road Dogg is now SmackDown's co-lead writer, working alongside John Swickata in the role. The news received criticism from some fans online who did not enjoy the product when Road Dogg was a head writer for SmackDown in the late 2010s. Responding to that criticism, AJ Styles tweeted that fans should not judge Road Dogg on his past performance because that was during the Vince McMahon era when writers would have their work picked apart and the final product would not resemble their original vision. AJ wrote, before judging this guy from his past performance as the head writer, just know that there was a man who picked it apart to the point that it was no longer his ideas anymore. AJ Styles did not directly mention Vince McMahon by name in his tweet. After spending a few months out of action with a foot injury, AJ Styles returned to action in the Royal Rumble earlier this month. He's moved over to the Raw roster, and it's looking like he's beginning a feud with Braun Breaker. Road Dogg is a WWE Hall of Famer, having been inducted as a member of DX in 2019. He was released from his behind the scenes position with WWE in 2022, but returned just months later when Paul Levesque gained more power within the company. On to our next story. Michael Cole says his WWE contract will last until his retirement age. The 58-year-old revealed the news on Monday during an episode of Logan Paul's Impulsive, stating that WWE made him feel important to the company for the first time, saying, just signed a brand new contract with the company, so I'm going to be here for a number of years. He would later reveal that he has 8 years left on the deal, also stating, the company really made me feel really for the first time that I was really important to this place. He was asked about what in the deal made him feel that way, and he said, the paycheck is part of it, but the new regime had a lot to do with it. When I went to sign the new deal, I sat down with my wife, and I'm 58 years old now, and I'm like, they want me to get to retirement age, and this is because we had talked about me getting out of this for a long while now, just because of the travel and everything else. And she was like, you got to do it. This is your legacy. You're going to be miserable if you don't finish this up the way you want to finish it up. And she was great about it. So she was 100% on board with it. And so I'm here for a while. Michael Cole re-signed with WWE last spring, but the length of the deal was not disclosed. It was only stated that it would keep him with the company for the foreseeable future. He's been in WWE for nearly 30 years, having first signed with the company in 1997. Michael Cole also addressed Corey Graves' situation, noting that Corey Graves took a brief sabbatical after a late night social media post implying frustration over being moved from the Raw broadcast team to NXT. Michael Cole said, I still don't understand all the dynamics of it. I know that he sent something out on social media that was pretty critical of the company. He tried to explain to everyone that he was trying to generate some interest in maybe a type of storyline. I don't think the company saw it that way. He went on to say, I think he and the company are working that out. I love Corey to death. He's an unbelievable commentator. Besides Pat McAfee, he's probably the best partner I've ever had. Michael Cole also spent some time during the interview discussing the changes he's seen in the company since the departure of Vince McMahon, saying, listen, I will never disparage Vince McMahon. He's got his personal issues and whatnot, but from a professional standpoint, I'll never disparage the man. I would not be here today without Vince. He gave me everything. He went on to say, I'll never disparage the man, but Vince was very heavy handed. It was his company, his sandbox, whatever he wanted. So I was never really able to break out and be myself, with the exception of a little bit of a heel run I had over a decade ago. But when Vince left and Paul came and was in charge, Triple H, he really changed things. Then we brought in Lee Fitting, who came from ESPN. Lee, coming from ESPN, where the talent is the announcer, he came here and said, I don't understand why our guys at the desk aren't bigger and have bigger personas and aren't as respected as the people in the ring. What Lee and Paul have allowed us to do is bring out our personalities, and you're seeing the real Michael Cole now. That's a wrap for this episode of The Latest. As always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.